Hello everyone and welcome to my channel YNR Trends. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The night took Billy and Phyllis the instant they stepped onto the terrace, the only sound being the quick pace of their feet on the gravel as they ran toward the driveway. The laptop between them felt heavy, almost alive, beating like a heart that needed them to choose a side. Billy's hand shook as his mind kept replaying Victor's fall on the cold floor, guilt pushing through his thoughts like it couldn't be ignored. Phyllis, breathing hard but moving fast, held the stolen laptop tight, her fingers white from gripping it so hard. She looked around, checking the shadows, knowing that if even one of the Newman guards saw them, their lives would be ruined before the sun came up. The car alarm beeped softly as Billy opened the door, and Phyllis got in, opening the laptop before even fastening her seatbelt. They didn't have time to think, every second counted. Victor could still recover, could get up again, and then he could come after them with all the anger and revenge they'd never seen before. Billy paused before turning the key, looking back at the mansion behind them, standing tall like a watching, judging figure. Its windows glowed faintly under the moon, as if it was watching them run away, blaming them for leaving a man they once feared but also respected. The thought of Victor Newman, someone who had survived everything, lying helpless and possibly dying in that house, twisted something deep inside Billy. But Phyllis pulled him back with a sharp whisper. "Drive. Now. We can't guess what he'll do when he wakes up," said the woman, and even though Billy knew she was right, the picture of Victor lying on the floor, gasping for breath, kept replaying in his mind. As the car pulled away from the house, the tires sliding on wet road, Victor inside the mansion struggled to move, each breath shallow and hard, reaching for the bar cart with his fingers just brushing the edge before falling back down, his vision turning into streaks of light and dark. Across town, Nick, Victoria, and Adam, the Newman kids, were unaware of the trouble happening, still fighting their own battles, stuck in endless fights and tricks, not knowing that the power they had with their dad was breaking apart second by second. But fate was already setting things in motion, preparing a big reckoning that no one could escape. Meanwhile, Billy and Phyllis were speeding through the city toward an old warehouse by the river, planning to look at the laptop's contents before making their next step. They didn't know that a hidden tracking program had started as soon as the laptop opened, sending their location through secret channels Victor had set up just for emergencies like this. Back at the mansion, a faint buzzing came from Victor's pocket, his phone, getting an automatic alert, but he didn't have the strength to reach it, his consciousness slipping away like sand through his fingers. The security cameras recorded every painful moment, and if anyone ever watched the footage, it would haunt Billy and Phyllis. At the warehouse, Phyllis opened the laptop again, her breath catching as she went into the insurance folder and found many smaller folders with names, board members, mayoral candidates, business friends, and even family members, each with files that could cause huge scandals. Billy leaned in closer, feeling both fear and amazement as he scrolled through documents about secret bank accounts connected to fake companies, blurred photos of secret meetings, and recordings of whispered conversations that could bring down powerful people overnight. But what scared them most was a folder labeled Abbott, filled with evidence so carefully put together it felt like it was aimed at them personally. Just like Victor always was, always ready to crush anyone who stood up to him. Billy's face got serious, his resolve growing strong like poisonous flowers as he realized the power they now had. The power that could finally stop Victor from controlling their lives. But the excitement of having this power couldn't cover up the guilt inside Billy, or the fact that they had left a man in serious trouble. Outside, thunder rumbled in the sky, storm clouds gathering to match the chaos inside. Phyllis whispered they needed to disappear, go off the grid until they decided what to do with the evidence, but Billy's conscience was breaking down, troubled by the possibility that Victor might already be dead. Back at the mansion, the security system detected no movement in the main hall, and sent an automatic call to Victor's private medical team. Sirens blared across the quiet night as paramedics rushed toward the estate, not knowing that the founder of Newman Enterprises lay helpless in his own home. At the warehouse, Billy paced restlessly, his hands in his hair, worrying about going back to the mansion to check on Victor, while Phyllis warned that it would ruin them both. Her fear wasn't from being mean, but from trying to stay safe, having fought powerful enemies who always seemed to come back. She was scared Victor would find out they had looked at the laptop and get even worse. Their argument got worse, voices echoing off the walls, worrying feelings growing between them. Phyllis said Victor had taken advantage of them many times, that he deserved to fall, while Billy said that leaving him to die made them no better than the tyrant who had hurt them for years. Just as Billy was about to push past his fear and go back to the mansion, headlights came from the far end of the warehouse, cutting through the darkness with a scary sense of purpose. A group of black SUVs slowly moved forward, tires splashing through puddles from earlier rain, engines low and controlled, too calculated to be a chance. Billy and Phyllis panicked as the SUV's doors opened, and figures stepped out. Newman security guards trained to protect the family at any cost, led by loyalty built through years of threats and big paychecks. Phyllis shut the laptop, knowing they had been found, and Billy realized that waiting had cost them valuable time. Across town, the paramedics finally arrived at Victor's side, rushing in to find him unconscious but alive, his heartbeat weak but steady, his famous strength fighting to keep him alive. As they worked to help him, his phone kept buzzing with tracking messages, confirming the laptop's location and the people who had taken it. At the warehouse, Billy and Phyllis tried to run to a side door, but the Newman security surrounded them, closing every escape. Adrenaline surged through them, and for a moment Billy thought about breaking the laptop to destroy the evidence and keep Victor from having control. But Phyllis grabbed his hand, telling him the laptop was their only tool now. As they ran deeper into the warehouse, the sound of approaching footsteps made their panic worse, forcing them to make a decision that would change everything: fight for their freedom with the weapon they had, or give up and face the wrath of a powerful man who had come back stronger. But fate stepped in again when Billy's phone buzzed with a message that made his blood run cold. A simple line from an unknown number reading, "He's alive and he knows," followed by a second message showing a live feed of Victor being lifted onto a stretcher, his eyes opening, lips moving as if warning them. Billy's hand shook as he understood the truth. Victor was awake, aware of the betrayal, and already planning to retaliate. Phyllis looked at the screen, a mix of fear and shock in her eyes, whispering one word that felt like the end: "Run!" The effects started to spread. Loyalties changing, friendships breaking, destinies entangling in ways no one could predict. As Billy and Phyllis ran through the maze of broken machines, clutching the laptop like a cursed object, they knew the storm of consequences was just beginning. Somewhere in the distance, Victor Newman opened his eyes fully, glowing with fierce determination to take back what was his, seek revenge for the betrayal, and set off a war that would leave no one untouched. The night took Billy and Phyllis the moment they stepped onto the terrace, and the only sound was the fast, crunching steps they made as they ran toward the driveway, the laptop between them feeling like it was beating like a heart, demanding they protect it. Billy's hands shook, his mind going over Victor's fall on the cold marble floor, guilt fighting against any reason he tried to use to justify what had happened, as if it wouldn't let him stop thinking about it, while Phyllis, breathing hard but still pushing forward, held the stolen laptop tightly, her fingers white from gripping it so hard, eyes searching the dark for any sign someone might be watching, knowing that if even one of the Newman guards saw them, everything would fall apart before morning. The car alarm went off softly as Billy opened the door, and Phyllis got in, opening the laptop before she even fastened her seatbelt, moving with urgency that made her forget about being careful, because every second counted. Now, Victor could get better, could come back, could use his anger in a way neither of them had ever imagined. Billy paused before turning the key, looking back at the mansion standing behind them like a quiet, judging figure, its windows reflecting the weak light of the moon as if it was watching them run away, blaming them for leaving a man they had once both feared and respected. The cold truth that Victor Newman, a man who had survived scandals, betrayals, and schemes, was now helpless and possibly dying inside that house made Billy feel something deep inside twist. But Phyllis pulled him back with a sharp voice. "Drive! Now! We can't guess what he'll do when he wakes up," said someone, and even though Billy knew she was right, the image of Victor lying on the floor gasping stuck in his mind. As the car drove away from the estate, tires skidding on wet roads, Victor inside the mansion struggled to move, each breath shallow and hard, reaching for the bar cart, his fingers brushing the edge before he collapsed again. His vision blurred into streaks of light and dark. Across town, the Newman kids, Nick, Victoria, and Adam, were unaware of the trouble happening. They were still fighting their own battles, stuck in endless cycles of rivalry and manipulation, not knowing the power connected to their father was breaking down. But fate was already moving pieces on the chessboard, setting up a reckoning that none of them could escape. Meanwhile, Billy and Phyllis raced through the city toward an abandoned warehouse near the river, planning to look through the laptop before figuring out what to do next. They didn't know that a secret tracking program in the laptop had started the moment the lid opened, sending their location through encrypted channels Victor had set up for emergencies like this. Back at the mansion, a faint buzz came from Victor's pocket, his phone, getting an automated alert, but he couldn't reach it. His consciousness was slipping away like sand. The security cameras recorded every painful moment, leaving a time-stamped record that could haunt Billy and Phyllis if anyone looked at the footage. At the warehouse, Phyllis opened the laptop again, gasping as she found a folder labeled Insurance. Inside were dozens of smaller folders, each with names like board members, mayoral candidates, corporate allies, even family members. Each contained files that could cause huge scandals. Billy leaned in, a mix of fear and awe as he scrolled through papers showing offshore bank accounts linked to fake companies, blurred photos of secret meetings, and recordings of whispered conversations implicating powerful people in serious crimes. But what scared them the most was a folder called Abbott, filled with evidence so carefully put together it felt like it was meant for them. It was classic Victor. Always one step ahead, always ready to crush anyone who stood in his way. Billy's face hardened, his determination growing like poisoned roses. He realized the power they now had could finally free them from Victor's control. Yet the thrill of this power couldn't ease the guilt eating away at him or the fact that they'd left a man in serious pain. Thunder rolled across the sky, lightning flashing like the chaos inside them. Phyllis whispered they needed to disappear, go off-grid until they made a plan. But Billy couldn't shake the thought that Victor might already be dead. Back at the mansion, the security system sensed no movement in the main hall and triggered an automatic call to Victor's private medical team. Sirens screamed through the night as paramedics raced to the estate, unaware that the founder of Newman Enterprises lay hurt in his own home. At the warehouse, Billy paced, hands in his hair, torn between returning to check on Victor and the danger that would bring. Phyllis warned that going back would destroy them. Her fear wasn't from bad intentions, but from years of dealing with people who always came back stronger. She didn't want Victor to find out they had seen the laptop's contents. Their argument got loud, tension sparking between them. Phyllis argued Victor had deserved this, while Billy said leaving him to die made them no better than him. Just as Billy was about to decide to go back, headlights appeared at the warehouse, slicing through the dark. A group of black SUVs came slowly, tires splashing through puddles. The engine sounds were too controlled, too planned. Panic hit Billy and Phyllis at the same time. The SUVs had found them. At the mansion, the paramedics found Victor unconscious but alive, his heartbeat weak but still there. His phone kept buzzing with alerts, confirming where the laptop was and who had taken it. At the warehouse, Billy and Phyllis ran for a side door, but Newman security had blocked all exits. Adrenaline surged and Billy thought of destroying the laptop, but Phyllis stopped him, telling him it was their only chance. As they ran deeper into the warehouse, the sound of footsteps grew louder, pushing them toward a decision that would change everything. Should they fight for their freedom with the laptop, or give up and face a powerful enemy? Fate stepped in again when Billy's phone buzzed with a message that made his blood run cold. A single line from an unknown number. He's alive and he knows. Then another message showed a live feed of Victor being lifted onto a stretcher, his eyes opening, lips moving as if saying something. Billy's hands shook as he realized the truth. Victor was conscious, aware of the betrayal, and already planning to take revenge. Phyllis stared at the screen, horror mixing with awe, whispering one word that echoed through the warehouse. Run! The consequences were just beginning. Loyalties would shift, alliances would fall apart, and destinies would intertwine in ways no one could predict. Billy and Phyllis raced through the maze of old machinery, holding the laptop like a cursed relic, knowing the storm was only just starting. Somewhere in the distance, Victor Newman's eyes opened fully, burning with resolve to take back what was his, to punish those who had betrayed him, and to start a war that would leave no one untouched.